You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. Mahatma Gandhi wrote in a letter to his then secretary Rajkumari Amrit Kaur just a few days before he was shot dead. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or as he is more popularly known, Mahatma Gandhi, was a lawyer, nationalist, freedom fighter, and above all, a humanitarian. His words to this day inspire millions of people around the world. In this video, we'll take a look at the letters that Gandhiji had penned down to three people. One is a dictator. One is arguably the greatest scientific mind of our times, and one is the philosopher who inspired him to follow the path of non-violence. Also, did you know that Gandhiji made a diet plan for a renowned freedom fighter? Watch the video and look out for a clue to the answer and let us know in the comments. Now coming back to Gandhiji's letters, the first one that we are going to talk about are the ones to Adolf Hitler. Europe was moving towards an inevitable World War II. Deeply troubled at the ensuing conflicts, Mahatma Gandhi took it upon himself to appeal towards the more humane side of Adolf Hitler. He wrote two letters to Hitler, the first one in 1939 and the second one in 1940. Dear friend, read his letter to the Führer, imploring him to pursue peace and non-violence and prevent this unfolding war. Interestingly, a month later, Hitler signed the iconic Non-Aggression Pact with the Soviet Union. However, as we know, Germany ended up violating the Munich Agreement, triggering the World War II. Undeterred, Gandhi wrote a second letter dated December 24, 1940. This was a long letter, condemning the British for their organized violence and that he would not want to end British rule with German aid. Unfortunately, neither of the letters were allowed to be sent by the British colonial government. While on one hand, Hitler's ideology was diametrically opposite to that of Gandhi, there was another German who was greatly inspired by his words. This was none other than the famous physicist, Nobel laureate, Albert Einstein. Einstein once said, "I believe that Gandhi's views were the most enlightened of all the political men of our time." In 1931, Einstein wrote a letter to Gandhi expressing his admiration for the latter's philosophy of non-violence and hoping that they can meet face-to-face someday. Gandhi wrote back thanking him for his letter and inviting him to his ashram. Although the duo never ended up meeting, however, Einstein's respect for Gandhi was eminent in his letters and audio recordings addressed to the Indian freedom fighters. Non-violence, or ahimsa, is at the core of Gandhian philosophy. But who inspired him to take this particular form of movement? That was Leo Tolstoy, a Russian philosopher and one of the greatest literary figures of all time. About him, Gandhi had once said, "A great teacher whom I have long looked upon as one of my guides." In 1908, Tolstoy had written a long and profound letter dubbed A Letter to a Hindu. The letter was a reply to Indian freedom fighter Taraknath Das's request seeking support in the fight against colonial rule. In this letter, he had mentioned that only through principle of love could the Indian people gain independence from colonial rule. In this letter, Tolstoy included multiple mentions from the Vedas, the Gita, the Hindu Kural, and Swami Vivekananda's teachings, emphasizing how only love and compassion can free them from the British rulers. After Gandhiji came across this letter, he was so influenced by Tolstoy's words that he decided to publish the letters in his South African publication. He sought his permission for the same, which became a segue into a year-long correspondence between the two that ended with Tolstoy's death. According to Tolstoy, there's just one old and simple truth, which is, it is natural for men to help and to love one another, but not to torture and to kill one another. Strengthening Gandhi's convictions of advocating non-violent resistance, Tolstoy said, "Love is the only way to rescue humanity from all ills, and in it, you too have the only method of saving your people from enslavement." In their letters, Gandhi and Tolstoy explored themes of racism, humanity, non-violence, compassion, and the law of love, amongst others. Such was the influence of Tolstoy that Gandhi christened his farm in South Africa as Tolstoy Farm. The principles of ahimsa, satyagraha, and swadeshi would define a lot of what Gandhi followed later in his life, and there's no doubt about Tolstoy's influence in shaping them. The Gandhian path of truth and non-violence has inspired several world leaders throughout history, a few of them being Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and Barack Obama. His philosophy and teachings remain relevant even today, and with multiple humanitarian crises around the world, we probably need them now more than ever.
अगर आप यूपीएससी एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ना चाह रहे हैं तो हमारा एक बैच आ रहा है जो पूर्णतः हिंदी में होगा. इट विल बी अ हिंदी बैच फॉर यूपीएससी जिसका हम नाम रखने वाले हैं पाथफाइंडर हिंदी बैच ही रहेगा. लेकिन ये बैच सेम पाथफाइंडर इंग्लिश या हिंग्लिश वाले बैच की तरह 8,000 रुपये में आपके लिए अवेलेबल रहेगा. तो ये भारत का सबसे अफोर्डेबल और सबसे बेस्ट यूपीएससी कोर्स होने वाला है. सबसे बेहतरीन शिक्षक यहाँ पर बेहतरीन तरीके से आपको पढ़ाएंगे. 8,000 रुपये इसकी प्राइस रहने वाली है और ये प्राइस आपको मिलेगी जब आप कोड यूज करते हैं पाथ या पाथफाइंडर, कोई भी कोड आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. तो इस कोर्स को सब्सक्राइब आप अभी से कर सकते हैं. ये कोर्स जुलाई में स्टार्ट होने वाला है. उसकी डिटेल्स आपको नीचे दिए गए लिंक पर मिल जाएगी. ये एक लाइव कोर्स होगा. इसमें आपको हम लाइव पढ़ाएंगे, टीचर्स आपके डाउट सॉल्व करेंगे लाइव. और ये बहुत ही अफोर्डेबल कोर्स हम लॉन्च कर रहे हैं ताकि देश के हिंदी माध्यम के छात्र भी आईएएस की वो तैयारी करें जो इंग्लिश मीडियम के छात्र कर रहे हैं. दोनों को बराबर अपॉर्चुनिटी, बराबर प्लेटफॉर्म देना हमारा कर्तव्य है. एंड वी आर डूइंग इट नाउ. टीम पाथफाइंडर आपके साथ है हमेशा.